My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in today. So, as you know, I had just asked to challenge yourself, right? You know, I wanted you to stop underestimating yourself. And again, sometimes we underestimate ourselves because of the challenges that we encounter, whether they're internal challenges or external challenges. But one of the things I have to ask, are you willing to do something about it? Are you ready to go the extra mile? You know, some of us use what other people say as fuel because they want to prove themselves wrong. That they are not what people say they are. Case in point. Again, this is a podcast called That Will Never Work podcast. This podcast is now on season 4. And what I had done, I had decided to bet on myself. That, one, I'm going to start the podcast because a lot of you know I had started off on another show called The Late Night Snack when I first dipped my foot into radio. That was a great time, but you know, it ran its course. You know, all props and shout out goes to Aaron Mathis, Ray Bradwell, and Arnold Thornton. You know, we had a great show. We had a great time, and shout out to Blazing 267 for even hosting us at that time. You know, but we had to take a look at where things were going, and you know, sometimes you got to pivot, and then you understand, you know what? In order for us to move forward, what do we need to do? And again, you know, it ran its course. It was a great show. We had a great time. And then it took a moment for me to say, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself to start this podcast. As you know, I started off with the Neighbors podcast first, and then I had gone into the No Fruit podcast with my wife. So Neighbors was with Arnold Thornton. You can still hear the show right now. Arnold is not on the show at this present time, but we have a Michael Kidd, who is my co-host there. And my wife and I still have the No Fruit podcast. But when I started That Will Never Work, which was after these two podcasts, these separate podcasts, I started it because this was the area I was really in, the niche that I was in. But I started to do my research and looking at names and things like that. I'm like, all right, well, you know, what's the one thing people are saying to me? And And when I looked up podcasts, there was no name by there's no podcast by this name. I was like, all right, well, we're gonna take a shot. I'm gonna bet on me to do this, to make this thing happen, or whatever it is. And if you actually take a look, if you actually do the search of That Will Never Work podcast, never is spelled differently than mine. There's another podcast by very same name, just spelled a little differently, which is a great show. I listen to him also. So listen to That Will Never Work podcast, the other one also. And the reality is, I had to bet on myself to make this into a great show, to put myself in places where I had to market. I had to believe in myself. I had to understand what people are looking for or listening for, and understand the analytics and things like that to make this into the show that it has become. I've had to get out of my shell, if you will, in order for me to ask people to be guests on the show, which in other circles I would not have touched. I've had to bet on myself. Now, granted, we have had the opportunity to rise in the top 200 in entrepreneurship in both Canada and Denmark. We've reached in the top 200 podcasts in that space of entrepreneurship in Denmark and in Canada. So what does that say? When you are climbing a charts, not even in your home country, but somewhere else, other people are listening to you. They're paying attention to you. Are you betting on yourself to get to a higher level? Now, there are other places where it's a little harder, based off of conglomerates and things like that, which is not a problem. But understand these other corporations, you can overcome them. You can become better than them if your production level is high, if your content is great, if your show is entertaining enough and gives a lot of, whether it's entertainment, whether it's education, showing a little bit of yourself. How are you projecting and showing yourself in a manner that someone's going to want to listen to you and consider you a thought-provoking leader in your industry? You have to bet on yourself. That's not easy. Sometimes you take a look and say, hey, you know what? I only have $17 in my pocket. But, I was looking at YouTube the other day about how some of these lottery winners that won a lot of money, they talk about, hey, I've only had $22 in my pocket. I decided to buy a $2 Powerball. And guess what? I hit for $500 million. They bet on themselves. Now, granted, that is a shot, right? Just like anything else for like the podcast or your business ventures, or even taking a shot at work of applying for a new position within the company, or even applying for another position within another company where it's higher money, a different type of title, different type of experiences. You have to bet on yourself. And here's the thing. No one says it's easy. And it's not going to happen in a microwave. The lottery, it appears that it happens in a microwave, but it doesn't, because you still have to wait, until they read the numbers. Some people buy the tickets early, they buy it late, they buy, whatever else. So there's other deciding factors when you think about the lottery, but anything good takes time. Greatness takes time. I listened to something that Kobe Bryant mentioned the other day about someone playing basketball and how going to the gym or going to the playground and practicing 2 to 3 hours a day versus someone practicing 1 to 1.5 hours twice a week. Who's going to become great? Will it be the person that's only practicing 3 hours a week, or someone that's practicing 14 hours a week? You know, they talk about 100 hours makes you proficient in your whatever you're studying, whatever you're doing. It takes 100 hours. It takes, time. Even they talk about you do something for at least 21 days, it starts to become a habit. So again, greatness does not come in a microwave. It happens over a period of time. And so with that, in that period of time, it takes perseverance. It takes patience. Are you willing to bet on yourself to get to that point? I understand everyone doesn't have it, and that's fine. But how do you put yourself above the other individual that's next to you, that's applying for that same job, that's next to you, that's in that same industry that you're in, the next person that is creating podcasts and things like that? Last year, I pushed myself and I bet on myself that I can get to 100 episodes. Now that is my standard. No less than 100 episodes a season. Again, it comes down to you and your work ethic. Expect nothing less from yourself. And I guarantee that you will become the master in whatever you're trying to do. Bet on yourself.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is bringing you more power, capability, and savings with the full lineup of new Ram trucks during the Black Friday sales event going on all month long. Lease a 2024 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn for $429 per month. Visit our 2 convenient metro locations in Blair or Bellevue or online anytime. Lease for 42 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. $2,500 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee to signing. Example stock number BC230242. Offer expires 11/30/2023. See dealer for details.